in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings, citizens! You're now trapped in a nerd cage with your hosts Mark and Jay. We hope you have a smashing good time.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Super excited to be here as usual. And yes, tonight we have not one, but 3 guest cinephiles here with us tonight, all from Kentucky. Well, 2 from Kentucky, 1 from Nashville. They have a podcast of their own called Real Talk, a movie podcast. Please welcome Wes Jones, Gabe Conway, and Tommy Wood. Guys, what's up? Thank you so much for being on the broadcast.
Hey, thanks for having us. We're really excited to be part of NerdCage Live.
Awesome.
Yeah, That's okay. I just wanted to tell you guys that pumped up. I haven't been in a cage match since that cage match I did with Mankind. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. Tommy, I'm ready to destroy Tommy in this debate, which is my favorite thing to do.
Wait a minute, Gabe. First of all, great. So glad to be on here tonight. So excited. First of all, Gabe, you just said that joke pre-show. You can't use a pre-show joke for the during show.
I like to try it out pre-show to make sure it's going to land like halfway, and then if it works, then I redo it.
Yeah, it's just a rehearsal. We'll allow it.
Okay,
run.
All right. Just this time, Gabe, since you're the guest, just this time, one time.
Thank you, buddy.
Right on. So guys, like, I know that, like us, you're sort of new to this. Like you started from what I understand, you guys started in the spring of 2020. Why don't you tell everybody like a little bit about your podcast and how you got started, how you got together to do this?
T-Man, I'm always do this stuff. Well, you take it. You take this question tonight.
Oh, man, I was really hoping Wes would take it.
I want to put him on the spot.
I was in a good routine. No, Mark, it's a great question, though. So we've been on air, so I would say almost a year now. We went live late March, early April 2020. And, all 3 of us have been really close friends since college, and we've always loved movies, always loved talking about
All right, can everybody hear me now? In the
And-
chat, it should be working now. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. And so we've always loved movies, talking about movies. That's what we did. We would get together as friends and bore people to death with our conversations. So we're like, we're tired of just talking to our friends who have toned us out at this point. Let's go to a bigger audience that can then tone us out, down the line. So that's what we decided to do. So now we've gotten to the point where we have people on their phones in their cars muting us. And that's what we're trying to get to.
Yes.
Right on. Right on. Now, I, for one, am a fan. I've been listening, I think I found you guys like in a Facebook group, and I listened to one of your episodes, and I've been listening ever since. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit envious too, because it seems like every good idea that Jay and I have, like it seems like you've already done it or you're doing it that week.
See, I was feeling the same thing about your show, because there was a couple of times we were posting stuff and you're like, oh, that's awesome. Looking forward to this one. We just did it. And I was like, oh, but it's good. It's good. We're on the same wavelength.
Right on. Exactly. Great minds, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wes, that's why you need to let me out of the box, man. Let me out of the box. We're going to have some crazy episodes coming up, because now what we're doing is every third episode I get to choose, and I'm off the rails. So it's going to be very different.
We tried this for a couple days, and we've seen Gabe's ideas, and they're pretty out there. So we might have to rail this back in. We haven't decided yet.
So that was going to be my next question. Like, how do you guys decide like your format? Like when when an upcoming episode is, when an episode's on the way, like how do you guys like decide like what you're going to talk about? Is it going to be an interview? Is it going to be a look back? Like that kind of thing?
Well, for the interviews, we're just kind of taking those as we get them. And Gabe has been reaching out to people. I've been reaching out to people on Twitter, just people that we would want to have a conversation with regardless if we had a podcast or not. Mm-hmm. And that's how the interviews, you reach out to a lot of people. You don't hear anything back. Some people respond. Like we just released an episode today from the director of Hell House LLC, one of my favorite horror movies. And the director, Stephen Cognetti, was nice enough to come on and give us an hour of his time. And it great interview. We just loved, if you have an interest in independent filmmaking, he tells you how to get your vision off the ground.
Nice.
From a guy who's done it and done it well.
See, that's who Wes gets. I got the first guy that was eaten by a shark in Sharknado, David Biddick.
Wow.
I got him.
Classic, by the way.
I got the girl who cussed out and made fun of Nev Campbell on a toilet and Scream. She came on our show. And then I also, man, that was awesome. And then I also got the guy that wrote the Meg, because I love shark movies. So
nice.
That was clutch. That was definitely clutch.
Wes goes a different direction. I go all crazy.
Well, as far as just our regular episodes, what we wanted to do when we very first started is like, okay, we'll go through. We're going to do a variety of different shows. We didn't want to be stuck with just one format because it felt like it would limit us. And, if we want to talk about directors, one episode, if we want to talk about a movie or the 90s summer blockbusters or whatever it is, we wanted to give ourselves the ability to do that. So we're kind of a non-format show. Right. And what we've been doing for a while is we've tried to stay timely with things. As an example, Die Hard for Christmas, that's going on. When we very first started, we did movies about viruses because that was all the talk. Everything was virus. Everything you looked at was like, well, let's do that. Before football season, we did football movies. So we're trying to do some things like that. But we've also decided that, we have an upcoming episode we're going to do on Silence of the Lambs because it's the 30th anniversary of it. Yeah. So we do things like that. That's how we've been kind of deciding which episodes to do.
Yep. Speaking of those great minds, like we have a Silence of the Lambs episode that's airing on Sunday.
At midnight.
Gosh. See what they did? They got us on here.
They beat us. They're beating us.
Oh yeah, dude. We planned this back in December. We took all the milestone movies of 2021, made a list. Okay, what movies are we doing? So
I knew it. Yeah, we're not tapping your phones or anything like that. So
by the way, I want to take a minute to introduce everybody in the chat here. Follow on Gaming. Thank you for coming. He's our moderator. Paul Tackett, Brian from Monstrosities is here. Betty Rage is here. Cindy Lou's here. Shay Smithers is here. Please, everybody, check out Real Talk, a movie podcast. All the links are in the description below. And I mean all of them. Twitter, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you listen to your podcast. That's where you can catch these guys. So be sure to subscribe to them and check out their podcast. Great friends of the show. We're happy to have them here, and I'm glad everybody's here tonight.
Absolutely. So let me ask you guys this, like you guys being movie lovers just as we are, what are some of your favorite movies? I mean, I know that each of you probably like has a favorite genre or, maybe like a favorite decade of movies, but like what are some of your favorites?
Go for it, Gabe.
Well, I'm a resident like sci-fi guy. I've always been a huge Star Wars fan. Used to watch them all the time when I was sick. I like the original Batmans. I like Tim Burton a whole lot. And so that's really when I got into Tim Burton. I'm a real big fan of one of the movies I'm going to talk about. I used to watch this every time I was sick in college, Count of Monte Cristo, Jurassic Park, and if I had to name one more, Edward Scissorhands and Braveheart are my last two. So I could go on all day, but I just named all the stuff that I absolutely love.
That's why you're here tonight, dude.
Wes, what about you?
Well, we're live, we're video. I don't get to do this stuff very often. Let me take you a quick tour. Can we do this?
No. Oh, are we gonna see the wall?
So there's a couple of
Terminator, I see it.
Framed, you see?
Nice.
We catching it there? Yeah, we got Casino Royale, we got The Godfather, we got Terminator 2.
Laura just a tad there.
Okay. And then let me take you over here to
there we go.
Oh,
there we
yeah.
go. We see that on the stream.
Okay.
We see that.
So there you go. These are just some of my favorite movies: Alien, Halloween, The Shining, Blair Witch Project, Jurassic Park. Seven. Big fan of Seven. So those are just a few of the ones I like. I don't get to do this stuff much, so I thought, well, let's show the wall. Let's show some of the stuff that memorabilia I have around here.
Yeah, cool. We actually did a 25th anniversary of Seven last year. That was hella fun. I saw the Terminator up there. Terminator 2 turns 30 this summer. Oh baby! I cannot wait to chop that one up, man, because it's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and oh my god. Another thing about 2021, guys, and I'm sure Wes, you can speak up on this. There's so many goddamn milestones this year. Some hard decisions are going to be made.
Yes.
And I'm like we gotta talk about this, but I want to talk about this, but I don't know if we can do this one. If I have time for this one, if anyone goes on Google or anything, look up 2021 milestones. Again, there's so many of them. I want to do all of them, but we know we're not gonna be able to. It's gut wrenching. I know there's gonna be some tough decisions gonna be made this year.
Well,
Absolutely.
I mean, for people that are around our age who grew up in the 90s, all of these movies are starting to turn 30 years old, you know? Back when we can start to remember when movies were coming out in the theaters and going to see stuff in theaters. I mean, I saw the original Ninja Turtles in theater. That just turned 30 last year.
I know.
So now we got Terminator 2 and we're going to have a few more, 92, 93, 94. I mean, Jurassic Park's about to be 30 years old just in a couple years. So there's a lot of milestones for movies that we loved as kids and still love today.
Even if we want to go even further to Mark's age, in the 80s, we got Aliens. We have Raiders of the Lost Ark turning 40.
See, I'm going to blow it for us right now, but I say we go off the cuff, T-Man. Let's do Point Break. It's Point Break's 30th anniversary this year coming up. Let's do Point Break.
I like that.
Classic.
Don't give away our ideas, Gabe.
Oh, yeah, they're probably copying this.
Well, we were already thinking it, man. We're editing it right now.
Rocky turns 45 in November.
Yeah. I feel like y'all are way ahead of us. We just came up with Silence of the Lambs 2 days ago. Y'all already have the whole checklist.
Oh yeah, dude.
We're way behind.
And I will say this, for those who are ready for the Silence of the Lambs look back, that may have been one of the funnest ones to do, because not just that movie, but Hannibal as a character and as a franchise.
Gosh.
There was so much to get into.
There's so much.
And now we got
about
this Clarice show coming out.
The preview at the Super Bowl looked awesome. I'm going to check it out.
Here's the thing, though. I wanted Hannibal Season 4. I wasn't asking for a Clarice show.
Yeah, I read that they can't even bring in Hannibal into the show because of rights issues.
What?
Yeah. Does the De Laurentiis family still own the rights to that character?
I think so. So they can probably do, who can they bring in, the one in Manhunter, the serial killer in that?
Yeah.
And then,
Buffalo Bill, maybe.
Buffalo Bill, I think, is going to be.
Well, he's dead, right? Because this is after Silence of the Lambs, so probably,
I think we'll bring him back. Resurrect him, maybe.
Resurrect him.
Hey, so we got a question in the chat for all three of you guys. The lovely Cindy Lou is asking, where did you guys go to college?
Western Kentucky University, all three of us.
Yeah, all three of us, yep.
WKU Hilltoppers.
There we go.
Right on.
If you look up the mascot, that's the big red blob that looks like a Cookie Monster that's red. That's us.
That's us. That's our mascot.
I thought he looks like Grimace.
And that
Grimace.
describes
That's what I was
us.
thinking of. Grimace.
Cookie Monster.
Threw him
He
in
always,
there.
Big Red is always winning those mascot contests, though. It's a great mascot.
Right on.
I don't think somebody
Tommy,
was
we
drunk
never got
when they
your-
came up with them.
We never got your favorites.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Wes actually, his wall right there, there's so many of mine that are my favorites in there, except Titanic. We're going to have an episode specifically about us bashing Titanic soon.
Bashing Titanic, really?
No, I
Bashing
won't.
it,
He
yeah.
will.
Anyway,
all right.
that's a whole other discussion.
Man, you can't shade James Cameron, man. Come on.
I told him I went on 2 dates.
I'm
the
not.
same
Listen,
night to
I'm
that
not a
movie.
fan of that movie either. Maybe it's because when I grew
Exactly,
up,
Jake.
when I grew up, I was like 10 or
Overrated.
11 when that came out, and my sister was obsessed with that movie, and I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the reason why, like, I had an older sister who was, was like every other girl in the United States was in love with Leonardo DiCaprio in the
Right.
90s, and
But
so
also,
when that movie
I
came
think-
out, I was like, that's nope, and then that My Heart Will Go On was like the biggest
Oh.
song in the world, and you
Awful.
couldn't avoid it, no matter like on the school bus
Oh.
or at an event. Like, come on, like.
Just get out of here. with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Listen,
So Mark,
yeah,
I have to back up Tommy on this one, man. I'm
That's
not a
all right,
Titanic guy.
That's all right. Zach Simpson in the chat says Titanic is top 5.
Hell yeah, Zach. That's right.
Yeah,
Zach's
that's
got my
right,
back.
First of all,
Yeah, I see
think
you, Zach.
I feel like I know who this Zach guy is, and I don't.
That's going down with the ship with
I
us.
disagree with him wholeheartedly on that. I just don't agree with that.
You know
So,
what? Next Rage in the Cage, we should debate: is Titanic a good movie? We can team
in.
up. Yo, Tommy, we could be a tag team matchup, man. I'll
Tag team.
tag you
Tag
in.
me in.
Yes.
Tag me in. I'm ready. I was born for this. I've been weightlifting for anti-Titanic all my life.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Thousands of people died. Why do you hate the Titanic? Is that what you're saying, Tommy?
No, I dislike the movie wholeheartedly. Any movie, I have a strict rule. Any movie with Billy Zane in it is not a movie for me.
Yo, we're not
Oh,
alone, dude.
wow.
Now Big
So
Jack.
we're gonna be enemies in this. We're gonna be enemies in this Rage debate because I picked a movie that has Billy Zane in it.
Yo, in the chat, Big Jack Films from Canada. Thank you for coming in, buddy. He's like, as a Canadian, I apologize for Celine Dion.
Understandable.
All right.
We love you, Big
No,
Jack.
man.
We can't wait to have you on the show, bud. Thanks for dropping in, man. I know you've been busy working on
Awesome.
your films and stuff. Thank you for coming in.
And real quick, just a few of my favorite films, as I know we're trying to get moving here, is just, I love Spielberg. I love Hitchcock. I'm a big director guy. Michael Mann.
Right.
And, all those type of filmmakers, that's kind
Uwe
of what I'm
Boll.
into. Uwe Boll, underrated. So love all those.
What's your favorite Michael Mann film?
Man, that one is so tough. I mean, The Insider, maybe. I think that's his best film, but one that
Right.
I love, maybe more, is probably Heat. Those two are kind
I
of
was gonna say Heat. Yeah.
so good.
Yo, Tommy,
Right
what
on.
about Quentin Tarantino?
Tarantino, you know what? I have a love-hate relationship with Tarantino.
Oh,
I love
no.
Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
I love them. Then
Okay.
I felt like he wasn't as good for a while. I felt like he kind of got a little,
He came back.
too pretentious or kind of into his own thing for a little while.
Mhm.
But then I really liked his last few films. So, like I said, it's kind of but he's back for me.
I think he's
Right.
all the way back, man.
Yeah, but now he's going to retire after 10 films.
Oh.
Right. Well, that's why he keeps like announcing the number of films. Like he's like the 8th film, the 9th film.
Until he says, like, oh, guys, by the way, those last 3 films I made, they were not movies at all. They were
Yeah.
documentaries.
They all count as one narrative.
That is one.
Yeah.
So
I've
now I
only
got
really
8 more
done
left.
5 films.
Hey, real quick, I just want to welcome Godzilla Gamer 77, aka Cole's in the chat. Thanks for popping in, bud, man. Always appreciate you being here. Okay, so I figured a good segue real quick before we get into our debate. One thing I want to discuss with you guys, because we were chatting like all week via Messenger, and one of the divisive topics that we were kind of like, talking about is Zack Snyder. And one of the biggest news that dropped this week, we have to talk about it, man. I've been aching to talk about it with all you guys. Is the Jared Leto's Joker has been revealed this week. I just want to get you guys' initial thoughts on that and how you guys feel about Zack Snyder, because I know you guys are big movie aficionados, and like And you guys were pretty, like I said, talk about Zack Snyder's a pretty polarizing director. So you guys go ahead.
Well, I'll tell the audience, your audience, what I told you guys in the chat is that somebody's going to have to Men in Black flash me from remembering his whatever the heck that was going on in Suicide Squad.
Hunka.
So if somebody does that, then I think maybe I'll be a little bit more receptive to.
That wasn't Zack Snyder, though.
Yeah, that was
wasn't. No, you're right. I'm just saying that was Leto.
That was Jared Leto.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, oh.
See, Wes, I've totally forgotten that. I have been Men in Black.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I have not. I've been trying to get it out of my mind ever since I saw it. And again, I heard that a lot of the good stuff he did, extended scenes that he did, was cut from Suicide Squad, and they just left a little bit in there. But what they left in there, I could not stand it, honestly. I thought he was just destroying the Joker, especially after what Heath Ledger had done. Just to I never thought Jack Nicholson could be beat, and then Heath Ledger comes in with this just very realistic, very awesome performance. I will say the pictures, the screenshots, they looked cool. I'll give it that. He looked pretty good in it. But again, this is probably the wrong show to say this. Not the biggest comic book movie fan at all. I never really have been. And so
we got Martin Scorsese really in the house.
Yeah.
Yo, Martin Scorsese, are you wearing a Wes Jones mask? Why don't you take that? Martin Scorsese, show yourself.
Ignore him. Hey, all the future listeners we just lost by listening to him to talk about his hatred for comic book movies. We don't all hate him. Just ignore him. He does this. It's a bit he does. He actually likes it.
But you guys need that because Mark and I, we disagree on a lot of stuff too. For example, look at our Little Things review. We were at each other's.
Snyder.
And Zack Snyder.
So I'm just saying, you gotta have that one turd in the punch bowl that disagrees.
Yeah. I can't wait to tell my wife tonight. I went on a show and I was called a turd. So it's been a good night.
Dude, I'm playing. I'm just saying that the beauty that you can't all have the same opinion. Where's the fun in that?
No, absolutely.
No, it's boring. Anyway, but Jared Leto really let me down because I saw Suicide Squad being filmed in Toronto. I was up there.
Really?
I was eating dinner. And we were walking back, and they filmed it in Toronto. They made the streets wet. I was like, I got to watch this film. I've never seen a film being filmed before. I go and watch it. It's a giant piece of crap.
Oh.
So I wished I liked it. I wanted to like it. But I think Jared Leto can be good. I think he will be good, and I love Zack Snyder. Like, I don't understand why half his movies are like 50%, 60% Rotten Tomatoes. I'm a big Zack Snyder fan, always have been. My brother, I'll give him a shout out, Eric Conway, huge Zack Snyder fan.
I'm 100% with you on that one. There's only two movies I won't defend, and that's Slither and Sucker Punch. But I was with Zack Snyder from the
Sucker
jump.
Punch.
See, when Dawn of the Dead remake came out, I was in high school. By the way, that was the movie that knocked out the Passion of the Christ out of the box office, by the way. But, I instantly fell in love with the Dawn of the Dead remake because I was, one of the rare exceptions with a remake. I wouldn't say better, but it was a damn good remake. And you could argue, that if it was better or not. But anyway, I started, and then 300 came out. I lost my damn mind.
Yeah.
And then, again, I loved, and everything I followed. Man of Steel, Watchmen. And yes, I love Batman. I stick with Zack. I love the dude. I really do.
I agree. I think critics don't like him for a lot of different reasons, but I think he's underrated from the aspect of just being like a really good director, great visual style.
Yep.
Maybe you could say that he's a little one note, like his movies are all kind of similar in that way, but most directors are. If you watch any filmmaker, a lot of times they're kind of the same. Yeah, they may make different types of movies, but their style is pretty consistent. Zack Snyder's the same way, honestly. And I love a lot of his films, like 300, like you said, even Batman versus Superman. Yeah. I think if you rewatch that now, I almost think it holds up better than a lot of maybe even the Marvel movies do, because it has more directorial style to it. It just has a little more it's just more interesting, I guess is the best way to put it.
People's complaint about Zack Snyder is always the same thing. Oh, what are we going to have, a slow motion axe throw here? What's going to happen? I like a good slow motion axe.
I like slow motion axes.
But I mean, you can say the same thing about Michael Bay. You can
I
be like, what's there going to be a fifth
box.
helicopter?
I guess I'm gonna be the fly in the ointment here. So The reason why I am kind of anti Zack Snyder for the most part is that I honestly feel like he's, and I've said this before on the show, I feel like he's the Michael Bay of comic book movies. I feel like he is an excellent visual effects person. Like he knows how to do action, he knows how to do fight scenes, he knows how to do fantastic special effects, but he struggles more often than not with telling a cohesive narrative, and he has pacing problems in a lot of his films. Even the movies that I like Watchmen, I like very much, but there's some pacing issues in it. Batman versus Superman, the same thing. Now the Ultimate Edition, that that extended version, way better than the theatrical version.
Look back, coming in a month. Just saying.
Tons of problems with it, and I think that he definitely like is up there as far as like one of the better directors, but would I put him up there with Christopher Nolan or with Steven Spielberg or with even with let me think,
James Cameron,
the Russo brothers, maybe.
Yeah.
Not really. You know what I mean? I just don't think he's there. That's just my opinion.
I actually like Zack Snyder as a director. I like the visual style, the things that he does. I've just ultimately not really cared for the completed movie, the last few that I've watched. And I didn't even watch the extended cut of Batman versus Superman.
You should.
And
you are smart for waiting, because you are in perfect position to rewatch it, the Ultimate Edition, right before the Snyder Cut comes out.
So, I mean, my favorite movie that he's done is actually Dawn of the Dead. And it was his very first movie. And I was so excited about him. And then I saw 300, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I like this a lot. And I think Sin City came out before it, I believe. Did it not?
Yes, Sin City came out in 2005.
I know it's different directors. We're talking Robert Rodriguez, but it still looks similar.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was pretty good. I didn't like it as good as Dawn of the Dead. And then it just kept going. And, Watchmen, and I liked it a little bit less than I did 300. And then Man of Steel, I really didn't like it much at all. Batman versus, didn't really like it much. So it's just he's just stepped down for me. But again, I think he's a good director. I would say that's a good director. I'm with Mark. I don't know if he's the best storyteller.
Yeah, that's really it.
Hold on, I gotta raise my hand. This is a good debate. I hate it when
this is the rage debate right here. Then
I hate it when I agree with the person, but I agree with you, Mark. I have to say that. I really do. It's the pacing. That's his problem.
Yep.
But me and Tommy had a long debate on the phone after Batman versus Superman, and we were like, I think it got a 59% on Rotten Tomatoes, and we were like, that was a good movie. That was a better movie than they said. We both loved it. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy. Did you think that was a better than 60% movie on Rotten Tomatoes?
I think so. And I think one thing I appreciate about Zack Snyder is he, like his Batman versus Superman, and we'll see with Justice League, like, let's compare them to the Marvel movies. With the Marvel movies, which I like a lot of them, but they're very, I guess the best way to put it is like corporatized and sanitized, and they have a sleek, the Marvel sheen to them. So you they're all kind of similar in that way. Whereas Zack Snyder, like, his Batman vs. Superman is like straight up like melodrama with like a homicidal Batman, and like it's got some darkness and some craziness to it that you wouldn't expect necessarily from a comic book movie. And while I actually agree with you also that he's not the best storyteller or anything like that. I don't think he's the best director by any means, but I think he's interesting and even
different.
He's different, and while he has, like, all of his films have, I guess you could say, negatives to them or problems, they also have some positives. Like, he's kind of an interesting filmmaker in that way.
Yeah.
Right.
He's very polarized. I'll close this whole topic on this. Okay. I'm never gonna knock anyone for disliking Zack Snyder. Not even you guys or Mark. Like, I get it. I feel like Zack Snyder's his style of filmmaking is an acquired taste. So I'm not gonna be one of those say, oh, F you. Like, how could you not like Zack Snyder? No, I'm not one of those guys. I love all his work except Sucker Punch. But like, just throw that out there. But like, I just feel like it's an acquired taste. He's got a certain style of filmmaking that's not for everybody, but for me, I love it. And the guys who love Zack Snyder stick with him, and they're a dedicated fan base. That being said, I just want to close off on Zack Snyder on this thing. Again, I'll never knock anybody for disliking Zack, the director, but don't dislike Zack the person. He's a good dude. He went through a lot. That being said, like, please, whether if you like Zack or not as a filmmaker, be happy for him that he's given the opportunity to finish the movie that he got screwed over by the studio in the midst of a family tragedy, which my family pretty much went through the same thing. It wasn't a suicide, but my sister passed away, and I witnessed exactly what my parents went through, what Zack Snyder went through. So, again, I just wanted to put that out there that the man's getting the chance to finish the movie the way it was supposed to be done, because Joss Whedon crapped on that movie. By the way, screw that guy, because there's more and more stories coming out about him. So anyway, like I said, whether if you want to see the Snyder Cut or not, and I'm not going to knock anyone who doesn't want to see it, but be happy that the man's given the chance to finish his movie, and I cannot wait for the Snyder Cut to come out.
All right, that was a good rant. I'm going to add to it, and I'm going to say, as you know, I don't have any negative feelings towards him as a person. I just don't really like his style of directing for the most part. But to his credit, I read an article today about why he decided to add Joker to the Snyder Cut of Justice League, and it's a very, very good reason. He actually considered the fact that we have this whole DCEU with all these characters, and through the midst of all these movies, there's never been so much as a conversation between Batman and the Joker. And he wanted to use the Joker as a way to tell a little bit more about Batman's psyche and like about what motivates him, what drives him. And he wanted to like add a couple scenes to just make sense of some of the things that were in the original Justice League that were his, that didn't make sense at the time, like the card, like the Joker's card on his rifle and things like that. He wanted to add a little bit more story to that, and you got to give him credit for thinking that those kind of things out, and working so hard to sort of like develop a better story this time around. So I will give him props for that.
Yeah, by the way, Off the Beaten podcast is here, man. Dion, thanks for coming in, friend of the show here.
Hey, Dion.
Okay, so got a couple things I want to do real quick here. We've been aching to do this Rage debate, and we were talking for weeks now, like, what are we going to do with these three guys here?
Hold on.
And what?
He's got to stretch.
Okay, that's fine.
Got to warm up.
Okay, no. We're gonna drop those announcements. But before we drop our special announcements, everybody, we want to talk about that we were going to do best revenge movie, and there were so many to pick from, and I'm glad we had extra time to, as all of us, thinking over what movies we want to represent, what we want to argue for. So I want to go around the circles. So Wes, go ahead. What do you think is best revenge movie?
I selected the 1992 Clint Eastwood directed Unforgiven.
Absolute pile of garbage.
Wait, save that for the cage. We're not ready yet. Tommy, what's your pick, man?
So I went with the Sam Raimi directed Darkman,
Woo!
starring Liam Neeson.
Woo!
We're
cooking with butter tonight. Gabe, what's your movie, man?
I went with the ultimate, The Count of Monte Cristo. The ultimate revenge movie teaches you what revenge is all about, my friends.
Sucks.
Save it for the cage. We're not in the cage yet. And then Mark, my man, you were the last one to pick. Ultimately, what did you pick?
Well, I'm your Huckleberry. I picked 1993's Tombstone, starring Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer, directed by the great George Cosmatos. That is the ultimate revenge movie, in my opinion.
Oh, man.
All right. I think I'm going to try my best to one-up everybody, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I had to go with my man Quentin Tarantino in 2003 and 2004's Kill Bill. That is the ultimate revenge movie. Anyway, so before we go into the cage, everybody, we have 2 special announcements right here, right now. And when these announcements are over, we're going to go right into the cage, everybody. So stay tuned. Here we go. Special announcement number 1 coming right at you right here, right now.
Finish him. Kung Lao wins. Fatality. Flawless victory. Prepare to die. Tell me, do you bleed?
Behold, Mark has given me permission to host a Snyder Cut watch party on Saturday, March 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. West Coast. For this epic event, I call upon thee, Dion from Off the Beaten Podcast, voice actor Matthew Farden, Titan Goji, Brian from Monstrosities, Wild Band, and Yoko Higuchi from Resistance Films.
Okay, ladies and gents, it's time for Rage in the Cage.
Finish him.
So strap in and join the fight in the comments below. Pick a side, Team Mark or Team J. Who will it be?
I must break you.
Yes, Rage in the Cage is back. All right, the gloves are off. We all have our picks. So, Wes, I'll let you go first. You're right in the middle of the cage right now. You're literally in the middle of the cage. Tell us why Unforgiven is the best revenge movie ever assembled on film.
Well, see, this is why I'm going to have a hard time arguing tonight, because I actually like everybody's picks. I like every one of these movies. And I just said that Counting Monte Cristo sucks just to mess with Gabe. I actually love that movie. It's a great movie. But the reason that I chose Unforgiven is because, number one, it's my favorite Western of all time. And Western is a genre that, of course, a lot of it is built on revenge. And I think because it's my favorite Western, it already catapults it as one of the top revenge films. And so when I was thinking about, okay, what do I want to do? There's so many good horror movies that are about revenge. I was like, no, something about that whiskey bottle hitting the ground at the end of Unforgiven. You got a pissed off Clint Eastwood. He's headed in the saloon. It just gets me so hype, and it's such a weird film because the movie is it's pretty slow paced. You know, it's very much about story, and it's very layered. But when that whiskey bottle hits the ground, it's just like it makes me just want to rub my hands together, scoot to the edge of my seat. You just know people are about to get effed up. And again, the reason that I ultimately chose it is because it's a multi-layered revenge film. The revenge narrative runs throughout Unforgiven. In fact, the entire plot of the movie is built on revenge, and the film is bookended by two separate revenge narratives. Mm-hmm. You've got, the whores from Skinny Saloon. They want revenge on the cowboy and his friends for beating, I think, Delilah and cutting her up really bad. And then you have the climax of the film, like I just talked about. You got a pissed off William Money going to Little Bill and his posse in Skinny's saloon, wanting to get revenge for them beating Ned and beating him to death. So this is why I chose Unforgiven, because it's a multi-layered revenge film and one of my all-time favorite movies.
Very well said, Gabe. I can tell right now you're like seething right now, and you're ready to let your hands loose. So I'm just gonna let you get your hands loose. What's up with why is Count of Monte Cristo the best revenge movie of all time? Oh, hold on. Your mic.
You're muted.
There we go.
Let me kick this off. I'm sorry.
He was speechless. See, he was speechless.
So seethed up while he was talking that I muted my mic because I didn't want to spew into my mic. First of all, Mark picked a better Western because, as we know in my Westerns episode, I picked that Western, and it took a dump on all the other Westerns. Everybody knew that. But anyway, Clint Eastwood's old, but he is still a great director. I'm sorry, Clint. I
was just gonna say, whoa.
I had to go all out there. But Count of Monte Cristo is a better movie because it has a better author, Alexander Dumas. I don't ever go into authors here, but me and T-Man had a big debate. We were like, when Game of Thrones started sucking at the end when the author went away. We had like a big talk about that. By the way, T-Man, do you ever think George R.R. Martin's going to finish those books?
Not a chance. Not a chance. He's written like 4 chapters and he releases and like, all right, everybody, this is what I've been working on. I'm almost done. But that's all he's done. He has nothing else to do.
Anyway, so back to my movie. Is there a better villain than the villain in my movie? I mean, I'm just going to tell you flat out that Guy Pearce steals the show in this movie. He's drunk the entire time. If I saw him at McDonald's, I wouldn't serve him food. I'll tell you that much. That guy's a dick.
Like
this
as
movie.
a customer?
Like as a customer, he'd be like, "Can I have a Big Mac and fries?" And I'd be like, "No, you're an asshole in that movie."
Gabe, you have been a drunk McDonald's customer before.
I think we all have.
I'm saying because he's mean. He is a mean man in this movie. He was such a good actor in this movie that I would not serve him food. But as a kid, this movie, man, I love this movie. It is the ultimate tale of revenge, and it teaches you what revenge is about. Is it worth doing revenge? Because the whole plot of this movie, as it gets to the end, like he gets his revenge. Spoiler if you haven't seen Count of Monte Cristo, but it's like, was it worth it? And then and then you find out what revenge is worth it by watching this movie, and that's why the author is amazing, and this movie kicks all of your other movies' asses.
That's a good argument.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Tommy, what do you got, man? Dark Man. That was wow. Talk about
All
pick
right.
from left field, man.
That's a great movie, though.
It's a great pick. All right, I'm not going to get real deep like Wes and Gabe did. Wes went into thematics of revenge. Gabe started talking about classical literature. We're just going to get into Dark Man because I want anybody to watch this movie and really tell me what the hell is going on in this movie. Nobody knows. It's so crazy. Like, I rewatched it and I forgot. Like, it is literally like Sam Raimi was on cocaine while he filmed it. I think he was. And, like, what is Liam Neeson doing in the movie? Is his acting. Like, that is not a normal, like, he was on something. Anyway, so the plot, of course, is that, I don't even know if I could speak to the plot. Scientist gets blown up, and then he becomes Darkman, which is like a combination of like Frankenstein and the Invisible Man, and like some guy that's basically can't be like he's invulnerable to pain. So it's like they took all the classic 30s monsters, I think, and kind of created this new creature, which I really like actually. But then like he also can put on people's other faces, and then he's getting revenge. He's got to go get revenge. But then it's like got like Looney Tunes type comedy and like Three Stooges and over the top violence. And I mean, what about this thing? Let's just put this scene up here. If you want to talk about the best revenge scene, you got the first henchman, all right, which is played by Sam Raimi's brother. I think it's Ted Raimi. And he takes him, and the Dark Man pushes his head up in the like a highway, and his head is just above like the pothole, and he's like screaming, and like the cars are like coming at him, and it's an amazing scene. And you're like, that's what I'm talking about. We're not talking about Clint Eastwood, old ass Clint Eastwood, 90 years old, can barely get a shotgun above it. We're talking about Dark Man holding this guy up where cars are gonna run over their head. That's revenge in my book. So if I ever get blown up by gangsters, that's what I'm going to do to them.
Oh, I love it. That was excellent. Dang.
Mark,
Man.
Tombstone, man. Throw that hook. Throw that left hook. I'm waiting for it.
Man, how do I follow that argument, man? But I think Wes is right. I think the best revenge movies are westerns, and I think the best western is Tombstone. I mean, for anybody who's not seen it, not familiar with it, it is the story of Wyatt Earp and what happens to him after his fight at the OK Corral. He goes out to Tombstone, Arizona, with his brothers to go so that they can go into business for themselves, and they have a run-in with a group of outlaws called the Cowboys, who are relentless and go after their family. One of them gets killed. Another one gets severely crippled, and Wyatt Earp decides right then and there that if he sees a red sash, he kills the man wearing it. That's his line. So you get tons of very satisfying moments. Not just in those big moments where someone dies, but even the smaller moments, like Billy Bob Thornton's scene when Kurt Russell walks into the saloon and, Billy Bob Thornton's character is being a bully and kind of like threatening people and kind of pushing people around. And he just like walks up to him and smacks him in the face and says, "Go ahead and pull that gun and see what happens." Smacks him in the face again. Pull it, the guy tries to talk to him. He's like, "I didn't tell you to talk. Go ahead and skin that gun." And he doesn't do it. And it's like one of the most satisfying moments in the movie. Add to that, you get the performance of a lifetime from Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. I mean, I don't know that I've seen a better performance from anyone than in that movie. And anybody who doubts me, go ahead and watch Tombstone right now. Stop whatever you're doing and watch that movie and watch his performance in it, and you will have no choice but to agree with me. And that is my opening punch.
All right, before I deliver my jab real quick, I'm looking at the chat right now. You guys are awesome, by the way, in the chat. Podchaser says The Prestige, Beat Count, and Darkman. Eon Lewis says, how the hell is Gladiator not on any of your guys' list? Shay Smithers says,
Prestige. One of my favorite movies of all
says
time.
Enter the Dragon. Cindy says, no one picked Man on Fire or Peppermint, and says that we're all slacking.
I lost with Peppermint last time, so I can't pick that one again.
I like Man on Fire.
Yo, I'm going to say right now, man, Kill Bill. If you want to get a revenge movie, why not get Quentin Tarantino on your side to write a revenge movie and deliver one of the best revenge movies ever freaking made? Because not only that, listen, it's all in the title. The title of the movie is Kill Bill. That's all you need to know. But not only that, now that we're going to see Bill get killed, we have a whole list. We have a hit list that Uma Thurman's the bride is going on a revenge streak on, with O-Ren and Daryl Hannah, that one-eyed chick there. It's just massive. It's bloody. It's full of dialogue, man. It's just like Quentin Tarantino took the revenge concept, took the kung fu, the mafia, and all the stuff he's well known for, and just took revenge to the next level. And that's why I had to go with Kill Bill.
Good argument.
All right, so Wes, man, throw your counterpunch, man.
Well,
Good punch.
yeah, I know.
Wes's counter's never been his strongest punch.
Never been my strongest punch. It's the opening punch. I'm like McGregor. If I don't knock him out with the first one, then it's not too good. Well, I mean, I've already told you guys why I picked it, for revenge. To go a little bit deeper layer into the movie is that there's just more to Unforgiven than it just being a Western, being old-ass Clint Eastwood, that somebody said, things like that. There's a F. Scott Fitzgerald quote that it says the test, let me make sure I get this right. The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold opposing ideas in mind at the same time and retain the ability to function. Why does that apply to Unforgiven? Because you see, the whole film talks out of both sides of its mouth. It is about it's like for violence because from an entertainment perspective, but then it also is against violence as well. You think about it as the movie goes on, and everyone that commits violence, pretty much except for Eastwood at the end, has their come up and something bad happens to them. And you know what? You brought up that he's old. That's the point of the movie. Gene Hackman's older in it. Morgan Freeman's older in it. Clint Eastwood is older in it. English Bob is played by Richard Harris. He's older in it. And it's about these older cowboys looking back on their life and some of the regret for things that have happened. And what's so good, and then you also have Eastwood was a former alcoholic, and that's why he was able to commit these terrible acts, killing women and killing children and all this type of stuff. So that's another reason why I love the movie so much, is that it works on all of these different layers, because whenever he's sitting there and he's talking to the whore that comes to bring him the money at the end, and he thinks that Ned is still alive, and she's like, no, Ned's dead. And he grabs the whiskey bottle from Schofield Kid, and he starts drinking the whiskey. You know, as a viewer, the shit's about to get real. It's about to go down. And again, I've already talked about him throwing the whiskey bottle down, going there and doing his business. Then it comes out with, he's got an awesome revenge line. He's not just taking revenge. Yep. He's threatened the town that there will be further revenge. And the line says, you better bury Ned right. You better not cut up any other whores, or I'll be back and I'll kill every one of you sons of bitches. And then that's pretty much the end of the movie. That's just badass, guys. That is a revenge film.
Yeah, it's thought-provoking.
Again,
I get it. It's a thought-provoking revenge flick. I totally get it.
Yeah. So that's why I love it so much. That's my counterpunch. I had to think about it a little bit. But yeah, in Counting Monte Cristo, I don't think there's any really good lines. In Darkman, I can't even tell you any of the dialogue. It's just it's a fun movie. Now, Mark, your movie's got a lot of good lines in it, so you might have one better than the one I just threw out there. But
notice he couldn't say anything about Kill Bill. That being said, Gabe, what is your counterpunch to all of us?
First of all, there are great lines in Count of Monte Cristo. I won't even go down that road, but
say one. Go ahead, say one then.
Okay.
I don't know one.
No, don't commit a crime for which you were sentenced for. I don't believe in God. It doesn't matter. He believes in you. That's
not a revenge line.
That's a revenge line. I just threw something out there. You asked for it at the drop of a hat. But I'm not going to go down this road with you and talk about all this nonsense. I'm going to do what T-Man did. First of all, has anybody seen Shawshank Redemption in this?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Mandatory watch for everybody.
Okay, let me take you down what you're missing if you haven't seen Count of Monte Cristo. You're missing Shawshank Redemption meets The Matrix, meets every pirate movie you've ever seen, meets Kill Bill, meets Sherlock, the Netflix series. It's everything. It's got everything in it that you want to watch. It's revenge from the get-go. It's I don't know. Alexander Dumas, the writer, freaking wrote The Three Musketeers. He's awesome. Yeah. So, if you haven't watched this, in fact, I was when they asked me to pick a movie, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I was like, nope, I exactly know what I do. It took 2 seconds. All these other categories, it took forever to pick. This one was easy. This is the ultimate story of revenge, and by the end, and it goes quick. Sometimes when I'm doing this podcast, I'm like, I don't want to watch this movie. I'd rather watch this Netflix series that I'm watching right now, but not with this one. I started it, and I finished it last night. This is a badass movie. Everybody should watch this movie. And if you haven't, you're crazy. That's all I got, man. Really, this movie is better than Wes's movie and everybody else's, so that's all that matters.
Yo, Team Tommy over there, man. Darkman, I know could throw a counterpunch. So what do you got, Tommy?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't know what's going on with all this philosophical bullshit we got going on tonight. Gabe, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. A 200-year-old novel. You haven't read no damn Alexander Dumas.
I didn't read it.
You act like you know what the hell you're talking about with him. Gabe's talking about some old man Clint Eastwood philosophical themes. This is what we want to see in revenge movies. We want to see revenge. Unforgiven. You talked about how it's anti-violence, pro-violence. When I'm seeing a revenge movie, I don't want to see no anti-violence. I want to see pro-violence. That's the point of revenge. It is violence. I love violence in revenge films, and that's what Darkman gives you.
Oh my God, dude!
Awesome.
I almost want to watch Darkman like right now.
Yeah.
You know how to sell,
Man.
Tommy. You know how to sell a revenge flick. I'll give you that.
Yes.
Because that's what I live for these revenge films. I mean, we're talking about Darkman here, who his face is all burnt up, scarred up. I mean, it's disgusting, but he can't feel. So you know he's got some shit going on there that he can do. Then he goes into people's houses dressed as them. First off, that's some good revenge. I got to tell you guys something.
Yeah.
But if I ever have to do some revenge stuff, that's what I'm doing. I want to try to create something where I can be them, because then you can really fuck with them. Then you can really mess with their minds, mess with their personal lives, mess with their finances, get in their bank accounts, take their dog away from them. You can do all sorts of weird stuff. That's the type of revenge I like to see. That's the type of revenge Darkman can do.
That's awesome. And I just thought of one of the memorable lines, one of the lines I remember from that movie, right? So like, we're getting into spoiler territory for people who haven't seen it, but
The movie's 30 years old.
The movie's 30 years old. So if you haven't seen it by now, it's whatever, right? So he's about to kill this guy, and the guy's like, "You won't kill me. You won't be able to live with yourself." And he just lets him go, and he's like, "I'm learning to live with a lot of things."
Whoa! I never heard Mark talk like that.
That was a great
That was a great Dark. Yeah, great impression.
Great, I love it. Great Liam Neeson, awesome. I'm telling you guys, everybody go see Darkman if you haven't seen it recently. It's a great rewatch.
All right, Mark, come on, you got a counter shot. I mean, you're the gunslinger over there, man. Where's your counter shot? Woo!
Okay, so we're talking about revenge. I mean, I think revenge is like throughout this movie from the very beginning. Like the opening scene is a wedding, and the cowboys show up, and they're avenging two of the cowboys that got killed by the groom. So they kill everybody in the wedding party except for the bride and groom. They make him kneel by shooting him in the knee, and then they take his wife. Then, through just in various scenes, it's just constant like acts of revenge, like Curly Bill taking revenge on somebody, Kurt Russell's character taking revenge on all the cowboys, Johnny Ringo, who's like the main gunslinger, he's taking revenge simply for being born. The whole movie, that's the entire theme. That's everything in every scene. You add to that, from a technical aspect, some of the most beautiful cinematography that you'll see. These wonderful, like Sergio Leone-esque kind of close-ups that kind of like show detail and emotion when like nobody's talking. Like, it builds this stress level, like when everybody's just like in a standoff and they're just like waiting for the first person to fire, like things like that. I mean, it's just like a fantastic movie all the way around. And I haven't even talked about the entire cast yet. Like you've got Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Powers Booth, Michael Biehn, Billy Bob Thornton, Billy Zane, Jason Priestley, Dana Delaney. I mean, there's so many stars. This thing is packed with so many great actors that I'm certain I've forgotten half of them. I mean, it's just like one of the best movies of the 90s, if not of all time.
All right, before I get to my counter, man, the chat's been awesome. So, Fall One Game is just pointing out, he's like, I was thinking John Wick, Taken, The Punisher. Paul Tackett, blasphemy, saying Kill Bill 2 was bad. Hell no, and I'm going to get to that.
I like Kill Bill 2.
Everyone's talking up John Wick right now. I see a lot of that in the chat.
I do like John Wick.
Yeah, Shay Smithers off the Beaten podcast. Godzilla Gamer Cole says, what about the Revenant? That's a good one. Ian Lewis says Dark Knight Rises was painful revenge. And Shay's just pointing out that Tommy's throwing some serious fists. Paul also points out Mad Max is a good one.
Yeah.
And someone, Fall One Game also mentions The Quick and the Dead. And everyone keeps mentioning John. Like I said, I wanted to pick John Wick, but I ultimately went with Kill Bill. Listen, My
I think
counterpunch for Kill
everybody
Bill.
on this show wanted to pick John Wick, but went with
I
something
think so.
else.
Yeah.
And to the Revenant guy, that bear got his revenge in the Revenant. That bear got to revenge the crap out of
Too
some
soon, Gabe. Too soon,
Is that too
man.
soon?
Too soon.
Bear activist or Leonardo DiCaprio activist or what is it?
Leo activist. The bear had his way.
Wes is a Leo activist. He's got a Titanic poster in his room.
You know what? I just want to say that like Kill Bill, you know, has all the elements that you guys talk about in all your movies. Kill Bill has it too. We go from wiggle your big toe to that journey ending with the 5-finger death punch on David Carradine and watching his heart explode at the end, literally. So like, to counter argue, especially Mark direction, you want to talk about cast? Kill Bill is the ultimate cast, ultimate cameos, man. Uma Thurman, Sam Jackson's got that cameo.
Yeah.
It's one of David Carradine's last, maybe his best performance ever, you know, as Bill. We see the side of Lucy Liu that we never saw again, by the way.
Right.
Like, Quentin Tarantino knows how to take any actor from Hollywood and bring out their very, very best. He's done it with all his damn movies. And like I said, Kill Bill has all the kung fu, all the head slicing, eyeball plucking, all that good shit, and with some of the Western elements in there. You know, Uma Thurman being buried alive, literally. Like, so many, like, along her journey of revenge, so many curveballs is thrown at her, and it's just, and then we're just waiting to see how it's all going to go down, and we just love how it all goes down. And I don't know how anyone can, like, argue, like, Kill Bill is, like, the perfect package for a revenge movie. That being said, Wes, give your closing. Everyone go around the circle. We're going to do our closing arguments now. So, Wes, your final close it out.
Well, a lot of your movies, everybody else's movies, they have a protagonist. They've got somebody that's, you know, they're lawmen. They're pussyfooting around, you know, doing different things to get their revenge and stuff. My movie, my guy is just a cold-blooded killer. He's been drunk his entire life. He's killed women. He's killed children. He gives absolutely no F's about anything. And then they try to straighten him out, straighten him up. He meets a woman, gets married. But what happens? He goes back to his old ways. He goes and kills lawmen, takes them all out, rides off into the sunset with his money and everything he's ever done. So I got the most badass guy of anybody in my movie that's taking the revenge. That's my closing argument. You want a revenge film? You got to have the lead be a complete badass. And the only other badass that I've heard is probably John Wick. And I would say maybe John Wick is a little bit more of a badass than Clint, but he's not as cold-hearted. So that's my closing arguments. Go watch Unforgiven. That movie is excellent. It won Best Picture, Best Director. You just can't beat it. And the end of it, again, you want to see some good revenge, you get it.
Gabe, close it out.
All right, I'm going to give a little tidbit for everybody. First of all, Wes, your movie is friggin' awesome. But number one, that guy leaves his kids at home for entirely too long at the beginning of the movie. I'll tell you, the next movie is...
He's ruthless.
He's
He doesn't
ruthless.
even take care of his
The
kids.
next movie is going to be about his kids that have starved to death. Anyway, so Tommy, your movie sounded awesome the whole time. I love Darkman, but it's not the ultimate revenge movie. It doesn't have any substance to it. You got to admit, no substance to Darkman, but I will say I do really friggin' love Darkman. I watched it almost 2 years ago, so I'm not going to fight you too much on that. Mark, your movie's awesome. Doc Holliday is a stud that in the whole movie. And to sell you on Mark's movie, the very ending is amazing. So if you ever watch Tombstone, watch the ending. The ending of that Western is better than any other Western, in my opinion, hands down. Kill Bill's awesome. I love Kill Bill. I love that we finally get some Kung Fu and we got a girl like as a main protagonist in this. I will say that I absolutely love Kill Bill, but it does feel a little bit like Kung Fu on techno to me. All right, so back into my realm, what I will say, and to answer you, Wes, a line from the movie, I'm a son of a merchant and I'm not supposed to want to be you. the reason my movie is hands down amazing is because it has literally everything in it. It takes you to prison for 14 years where a man gets beat once a year and he has to constantly think about, what am I going to do to get revenge on this person that took not only my wife, my child, everything that I knew from me right before I was becoming a captain, and he takes a dump on all of them by becoming somebody that that the people don't even know who he is. He tricks them, he becomes wealthy, and I'll tell you what helps is endless treasure, but he absolutely kills the revenge game, and no other movie does that.
I know Tommy's ready to throw some haymakers now to close it out.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm ready to block. So go, Tommy.
All right. So honestly, guys, you guys all have really good revenge films. But what you don't have is you don't have a villain that you really despise. And Darkman has that villain. So let's look at the very opening scene of Darkman to talk about the true ridiculous nature of this movie. So if you guys haven't seen it, so this is what they set up by the bad guy coming in. He's got like 3 of his henchmen with him. And he comes in and they're facing like 20 villains. And they're like unarmed. So they're like, basically, they're saying, we want all your, territory, everything. And so what does he do? His henchman pulls the guy's leg off and uses it as a machine gun to kill everybody in the room. And it's like them versus like 30 people. Somehow you got cars jumping out of crates. You got one guy I saw had an eye patch. That was great. Machine gunning. And then somehow they kill them all, which is amazing. And the guy is still hopping on his leg. And the guy holds him with the machine gun because he was still hopping. He had only one leg because they took his leg. So that's the type of cinematic treasure we're going for here. Like I said, nothing against Unforgiven, nothing against Count of Monte Cristo, Tombstone or Kill Bill. Those are all great movies, but it doesn't have the sense of fun that Darkman has. And that's why I think it really, makes it something. Because here's the thing about revenge films. They can get a little dark and maybe not as fun to watch. I think that's the biggest downside of this genre. And Darkman is just fun.
All right, you bring some good points. So, Mark, I'm ready for your kung fu roundhouse, and I'm ready to block it. So deliver your closing argument, man.
Man, these guys all brought the heat tonight. You know what I mean? Like, these are very tough arguments to sort of get over. But I'm just going to have to dedicate this last round to my man, Val Kilmer. He, once again, the performance of a lifetime, and his character, Doc Holliday. You want to talk about somebody that's badass. Somebody said that no other movie has a badass like person X. But this guy's so badass that in a revenge movie, he's the only one not looking for revenge and killing people anyway. And so, and on top of that, after he kills somebody, he has the smoothest, calmest lines of anybody. You know what I mean? When he has his showdown with Johnny Ringo and he kills him, and then Wyatt Earp shows up and he just puts the star on his chest. He's like, well, the stress was just a little more than he could bear. And then he just looks at him. He's like, oh, I wasn't as sick as I made out. Just very calmly, just destroying people, and I can't think of anybody else in a revenge movie that has that coolness, but is at the same time super vicious. So that is my ending punch as to why this movie is what it is.
Okay, I'm going to close this bitch out. I'm just going to say this right now to Wes, to Mark, to Gabe, to Tommy. You and I have unfinished business. That being said, Kill Bill. Listen, we're living in the age right now of movies where we're seeing a lot of female action, a lot of female-centered films. But Kill Bill was long before that movement started. All right, Uma Thurman's character's got more balls than most action stars nowadays, and she totally delivers on this film. That's why we are in for that long ride. The moment she gets shot in the head, wakes up from the coma. By the way, she was getting screwed in the coma. You're rooting hard for this woman, for everything that Bill took away from her. And then we get the big twist, spoiler alert, her daughter's still alive, being raised by a psychopath. The journey that we go on, the cast that we're given, the action. I mean, we go from we see in this house get wrecked at Vivica A. Fox's house with one of the most beautiful scenes that you've talked about, Mark, with no dialogue.
Yes.
When the girl comes home from school. I mean, we go from that to her to go to Japan, fight 88 men, chopping their asses up, and then we go into the desert where she's buried alive. We see some flashbacks, you know, and then finally we get the eye plucked out. Then eventually we get the ultimate revenge on Bill. And I just love how the dialogue, David Carradine's performance and his Superman rant, some of the best things you'll ever see on film. Quentin Tarantino, this is definitely one of his, not his best, but one of his best movies he ever did. And I think Quentin Tarantino delivered us the best revenge movie of all time. And that's how it's going to go. Amen. Team J all the way. So I see to everybody in the chat right now, I see all your picks there. I see people saying John Wick. I see people saying Taken, Carrie. I'm seeing a bunch in there right now. But among the 5 of us handsome fucks on the screen right now, go with Team J. So what do you guys do? Team J, Team West, Team Mark, Team Tommy, Team Gabe. I want to know right here, right now, before we get out of the cage, before we open the floor up, everybody in the chat right now, who is your winner tonight? And why is it Team J? Everybody in chat, go.
Why is it
I see why he goes last. I mean, that's
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm being courteous. I am the host. I am the co-host. You guys are my guests, and I want you guys to go first. And you know, and yeah, I like it when Mark goes first. So I can
And
kind of
why
like.
am I last? And why
Sounds
is
like
it
the
me?
home team batting last.
Yeah. You know, he's Eminem in 8 Mile, you know, like he gets to hear all the insults, so like he knows like how to counter.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's fair.
Strategy, baby. Come on, everybody. Where's your hashtags, everybody in the chat? I mean, here we go. I mean, come on. I mean, Team J, Team Tommy, Team Mark, Team West, Team Gabe. What do y'all got? What do y'all got? Whew, man, I'm out of
And
breath.
all of the movies that were named like in the chat, those are the movies that I wrestled with over the week. Like, remember, like Jay, like you would be like, "Do you have your movie yet?" And I'm like, "I can't decide, man." Like, I sat and rewatched all these movies to try to figure out, like, okay, which one do I want to go with? And then, like, eventually I picked this one. So these are all like no shade on anybody in the chat for the movies that you picked, because they're all movies that I picked in some way.
I picked John Wick first in that switch, so like that. And Tommy, I know, picked John Wick, probably one of his, and then wrestled back to Darkman.
Yeah. No, I like John Wick 2 better. So it's like, I don't know which one.
So
to go with.
Wild
I did
Band
too.
from Arizona saying Team Gabe, Paul Tackett saying Team Mark, Eon Lewis saying Team Wes, Cindy's going with Team Mark, my man Off the Beaten Podcast saying Team J. I saw one for man, I was going earlier today. Who Shay Smithers I think said Team Tommy. I mean, we got
I'm voting Team Tommy, and I'm on Team Gabe.
we got Godzilla Gamer saying Team Mark. Like,
Yeah.
I see you.
I
appreciate that.
I was saying, I mean, with 5 people in here, I mean,
It's a tight contest.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
And these are all really good movies, man. Like, I love every movie that
was in
guys
here.
mentioned.
Oh, there we
It's
got
the
another
first-
Team J. All right, so I got 3. All right, I got 3. I got another one. Spawn One Gaming says Team J. Man, we got.
Thank you, small one.
All right, guys, dude, that was hella fun, man. I am glad we
was
got
fun.
to do this, man. We gotta do another rage debate, another topic with you guys, man. I mean, that's been. You guys are fun to argue with, man.
Yeah.
Maybe
you guys are
I'll
great.
go first so that so I'm not accused of having the advantage.
Right.
Oh, look at that. We got another Team J. Brian from Monster Wrestling says Team J. Oh, my man. I love it. You guys are great. All right. Let's open up the floor. I've taken enough punches, man. Let's get out of the cage and get back into let's do some open floor. Whew, man.
That was heated.
Dude, I'm so
love this.
tired. Like, I'm serious. I tell this to Mark all the time. Like, every time we're done doing the show, like, my energy is just drained. Like, I feel like I just ran a marathon.
I can see.
You bring some energy. I don't. Tommy really brought some heat tonight with the leg shot machine gun thing. I'm
gonna go back and watch Darkman. Like I'm off this weekend. I gotta go back and watch it now. Like Tommy's like sold me. Like I haven't watched Darkman since I was a kid when it was like on TV. Like
Didn't you make me watch it here recently when I lived with you? Isn't that the last time I watched it?
Probably so. Like I've always loved it. I know Wes loves it, so we've always talked about it. So it's just if you haven't watched it recently, give it a watch because I think you're gonna find like it's just so over the top.
It's good. It's Sam Raimi directing it, so that was during his prime of going over the top. You know. With a simple plan, and then he got into the Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. He tamed himself down a little bit, and then Sam Raimi got out of the cage with Spider-Man 3 and then dragged me to hell. He got right back out.
Yeah. You can't keep Sam Raimi and keep him down. He'll come out sooner or later. Yeah, this was right around, like you said, was this and then Army of Darkness area where he's like really going hard into the comedy, the over-the-top type humor.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, no, I vouch for Darkman. It's an awesome movie, and I don't know a lot of people that have seen the movie, honestly. Right. And I know T-Man did, and we were talking about it before, talking about his pick, and I knew he liked it. So, it's great. I think most of the other ones that we picked are a little bit more mainstream. Well, Count of Monte Cristo's not really. So Count of Monte Cristo.
That was out of the box for sure.
Yeah.
That's another good one that's like not super common, but also a really good movie.
I think we've all said it. Like, there's so many of them. Like, what the hell do we choose? Like, that's why I think the chat had difficulty. Also. Some of the people in the chat were just saying, well, what about John Wick? What about this? What about that? Like, and what classifies as a revenge movie? I just feel like Kill Bill is like, as far as like class, like that's like pure revenge. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Well, the first movie that popped into my mind, and I'm not even really much of a fan of it, but when you said revenge film, I Spit on Your Grave is the very first thing that popped into my head.
I almost picked that one.
Dude, the original or the remake?
Well, the original is what popped into my head. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to go down that path because, again, it's not like one of my favorite movies. But anytime someone talks about a revenge or you think that's just the movie that immediately pops into my head. As a horror fan, I guess.
Dude, did you see the sequels, the second and third remake sequels?
No, I didn't.
The second one. Okay, so the second one's is another woman, another situation. Now the third one's interesting though. The third one's actually a direct sequel to the first remake. Where she's like, after, she's traumatized and she can't even go to work without like, yelling at a man and stuff like that. And there's like one really gritty scene that I will never watch again. I can't unsee it. I'm gonna say the guy that she does it to, the guy deserved it, but it was hard to watch. She takes his slong and a chef knife and they show it. And I'm just like, I can't watch. I was like, oh, dude.
That's not watchable for me.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, dude. It's. The guy deserved it, but it was awful to watch. Like, it takes a lot for me to like squirm or that scene did me in. Just saying. So if you guys I think the two sequels are worth watching. I say.
I was really shocked nobody picked Little Giants, man.
I'm a Giants fan.
From his older brother. Man, Icebox doesn't deserve all the hate she gets. She's a great tackler. I can't believe.
I can't believe nobody picked it.
Shout out to Paul Tackett. He's like one of our most dedicated fans here. He's been here since day one. He mentioned Revenge of the Nerds.
Hey, good revenge.
And I'm like,
it's in the title.
It's
about us.
They have like
It's about us.
It's about us.
It's about us. We're getting our revenge. Don't they have like a decathlon like at the end, like a nerd decathlon? I haven't seen it in like 6 years.
Oh my God, that's
a good one.
It's a classic.
Everybody loves a nerd decathlon.
The one that somebody mentioned, Gladiator, was a good one. I didn't even think about.
Somebody said that immediately sparked. I was like, ooh.
Here's the thing I love about doing this show, like Rage in the Cage, NerdCage Live, and in particular Rage in the Cage. When we debate these topics, like we can bring them back. Like, they're reusable. Like, I would love to do this again, pick another revenge movie. You know, like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, when we do these debates, like, I like to do different ones, but some of these have been so much fun. Like, dude, we gotta do that again. Like,
I've got it. Look, I've got your
We'll
title.
do it again.
Revenge of the Revenge movie.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
What do you
We're
guys
back again.
I like it.
Revenge
Stealing
of
it.
the revenge.
Because the Revenge movie's getting revenge because this one was pure crap. Our next
Real-
episode is gonna be one step up, guys.
I am
Barely.
shocked.
Yeah.
Like, I was so waiting for somebody to troll me because, first and foremost, a lot of our fans here come from like other kaiju channels, and like, I'm surprised nobody said Godzilla's Revenge. The problem with Godzilla's Revenge, it's called Godzilla's Revenge, but Godzilla's not revenging anything. I'm
like,
surprised. I was waiting for someone to troll me and say, "Hey, what about Godzilla's Revenge?"
Well, it's like Wrong Turn 2. They don't make any wrong turns.
They just go straight.
They're
to
all
the
right.
destination.
Oh, they're
Yeah, they go exactly where they want to go.
in the chat,
So
Ian
Dana
Lewis,
says, what
Death
about
Wish.
Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen?
Yeah, Revenge is in that title.
Revenge is in that title.
And I think I like that one better than the first one.
What about
What?
isn't there a Jaws the Revenge?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the third one is
But
Jaws
what
the
is that
Revenge.
shark? I love shark movies, but what is that shark getting
Hey.
revenge on?
For them killing Jaws. Wasn't that her daddy or something?
Or mom? I mean, I don't know how you can
have
tell
to
whether
steal-
it's a boy or a
Kill
girl.
my shark
Related in
daddy.
some way.
Come on, Gabe.
And then,
Sean.
yo, Big Jack saying Mask of Zorro. He's on a Zorro kick
Hey,
lately.
that's a good one.
That is
a good one.
really good one.
Yeah.
Not the
underrated,
sequel, though.
Really.
The sequel.
Not the sequel.
Yeah, but the
Max
first
Zorro
one.
is one of those It's almost like Count of Monte Cristo. Like they're both like really underrated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was shocked when County Monte Cristo got like a 69 on Rotten Tomatoes, but when I rewatched it, I was like, this is a
They're
great movie.
always wrong. Rotten Tomatoes is always wrong.
By the
Yeah.
way,
Yep.
did you not, the woman in Count of Monte Cristo, like, I would understand if like somebody put me in the prison Chateau d'If. I'd be like,
What?
she is hot. She's hot. Fine. You took her from me. You put me in prison. I understand.
What?
You guys didn't think that? Okay, maybe I'm
What?
glad I didn't throw that in there during the debate. Nobody's listening
No.
now, right?
No, we're still
listening.
on. We're still
Oh,
on.
no.
Come on, Gabe.
Dang it.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out
Rachel,
what
if
the
you're
hell you're
listening,
talking
you're way
about.
prettier.
Yo,
So there was
Mark,
back-
Mark, your buddy Eon says Death Wish, and it's funny. I was talking
Yeah,
to
that's
Mark.
what
Yep.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Man.
Yeah, that was one that I almost picked is Death Wish. I was like, you got to go with the original revenge film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That really-
But just, I rewatched that, and then I rewatched a few others, and then just ultimately I just landed on Tombstone. I was going to pick Django Unchained, too. I was like, that one, for me, like, I get a lot of satisfaction out of some of those scenes. Especially like when Christoph Waltz like kills Leonardo's character, and then he just turns and looks, he's like, I couldn't resist. It was just like, yes, like that would be me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mark, you definitely got some Django in you. I mean, because all the martial arts and stuff that you do, and I've never seen you use a gun, so.
Yeah. Well,
Tarantino has a lot of revenge films, I guess, then kind of, because Glorious Bastards, in a way, is kind of a revenge film.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Nazis. It's kind of his thing, I guess.
Oh,
That
Princess
opening
Bride.
scene
That's a good one.
there's
I was toying with that idea. Honestly, I'm like, well, Princess Bride. I don't think it has a great revenge story.
Oh, that's one of me and Tommy's favorites.
I
do
love
love
that
that
movie,
film.
but I don't as like a pure revenge movie. There's just too
It's like
much. I mean, it's got a good revenge story, but there's too much. I wouldn't call it just like solely a revenge movie. But I did toy with that.
you know what I just thought?
That
I should have
fight where
I should have gone with Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, another good one.
That would have been a good one.
That fight in
Totally
Princess,
forgot about that one.
what does he say? Tommy, you're going to be able to tell me. In that fight in Princess Bride where he's like, I'm also left-handed, but he's like, I'm getting revenge for my brother, blah, blah, blah. There's a speech he says.
Oh, his long speech is, I'm in, what is it, Inigo Montoya?
I'm
Yeah.
Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
There it is.
Prepare to die.
I know this
Prepare to
because
die.
I have a magnet. I have that
You
magnet
got it.
with that line on my refrigerator.
Nice. And then at the very end, he's like, you killed my father, you son of a bitch. And he kills him.
That is a good revenge film.
It is.
I'm doing that one if we come back.
But Jay's right. It's like not just a revenge film, so it's one of those like you don't really think about, but it has a great side element to that revenge part of it, which I love.
Right.
There are tons. I was looking up revenge films, and they were going such thing as like Skyfall. Like they were like Skyfall could be a revenge film, which I guess it could be because I guess the bad guy in it,
So everybody in the
R.E.M.,
chat,
is like
you
getting
can see
revenge.
this.
Yeah, it is
I mean, you
awesome.
got-
Yeah,
I
so
want that magnet.
You see that, you're like, I've got
Dude,
that memorized.
I totally have a magnet fetish because my refrigerator is covered with like movie themed like magnet, and a lot of Godzilla
Where
magnets.
did you
and
buy
stuff.
that? I need to know.
I got. Where did I get it? I think I got it at FYE.
I want that.
FYE sells some
They
like
They went
really
out of
badass
business, so I can't
magnets.
go there.
Yeah. I don't know how many FYEs are open in Kentucky. I mean, we like a lot of
None
ones in
anymore.
I
upstate New
haven't
York
seen
closed
one.
down. Oh,
They have one. There's
Yeah.
one in Nashville that I've seen, Cool Springs Mall. So everybody down there.
yeah. I mean, their online store's still popping, but I don't know.
I'm
if
going
they
to
have, like-
Amazon the crap out of that, though, when we get off here. Sorry, I don't mean to do that.
No,
I
Judge,
like
you're
to buy
good.
local, but I'm doing it.
No, 100%. I get it. Like, but yeah, like I go to like conventions and like FYE, like, yeah, and if you go
I'm
on
actually
honestly,
doing it right
eBay,
now while we're on the show.
like eBay, you can find a lot of good magnets on eBay. Like people customize these and like they're great. Like yeah, so you can get them anywhere. But that particular one there, that the Engelmann Toya, I got that at FYE.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
already
This is
found it.
interesting. Big Jack Films says, fun fact, the actor took the role as a way to find closure to kill the cancer that killed his real father.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. I
Yo,
did not
listen,
know that.
Big Jack does his homework, dude. That dude spits some facts out, man. And if you want to talk about the ultimate like King Kong reference person, Big Jack's got you covered. Whether it's the 1933, the 1976. Speaking of, coming out on Blu-ray in May, 76. But like, you want to talk King Kong? He knows everything about the props, behind the scenes, where they filmed, how it was. My God, dude, this dude blows my mind. The shit that he knows about movies, in particular
Awesome.
King Kong.
Very cool.
You can get a whole Princess Bride magnet set for $15.
There you go.
All right.
The more you know.
Yo, if I don't know what website you're on, we would love to sponsor you on NerdCage Live. We could use the money, so yeah, we will promote the hell out of your products, whoever you are.
It's called, let me go ahead. It's fairyglen.com. And you've got Anybody Want a Peanut? You got the Andre the Giant. You got Inconceivable, which I love.
Oh
And
my God, that's great.
And then there's a magnet, I'm not a witch, I'm your wife. And I love that scene too. Won't give that to Rachel for Valentine's Day. That's probably frowned upon.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so Cindy Lou, my wife, she says, is Gabe drinking Sierra Nevada?
Yes.
Are you drinking Sierra Nevada?
Yeah, I'm on number 3.
There you go.
There you go. That's all I
Awesome.
drink.
Awesome.
All right, so
I've switched.
I'm looking at the clock right now, so we've gone pretty all in. I just wanted, before we go, anybody in the chat, do you have any questions for us, especially Wes, Tommy, and Gabe? You know, if you got any questions for those guys, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to know. Before we start getting these questions in, guys, can you just remind them about your podcast? I'm sure there's a lot of people who just tuned in or tuned in the middle of our show. So, guys, just explain about your Real Talk podcast real quick.
That's
Yeah,
gotta be
sure.
Wes.
You want? All right, I'll take it again. But well, first of all, thank you both for having us on the show tonight. This was a lot of fun,
Yeah, it was.
and we'd love to collaborate again in the future at some point.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do that. But for anyone who's listening out there, watching us tonight, our podcast is called Real Talk, a movie podcast. We started back in April. The whole point of our show, again, obviously to talk movies, but we want it to be like this, like what we've done tonight. Just it's like a group of friends hanging out, talking movies, discussing, having a good time. We want the listener. I mean, Gabe and T-Man, their banter between one another is usually cracks me up. It cracks our guests up. You know, I just try to steer the ship, try to get us through the material. You know, maybe can make a funny joke every now and then, but
Oh, you
we'd
got
love to have anybody come over and listen. We're going to do it all. You know, we're going to talk directors. We're going to talk movies. We're going to have interesting guests on to interview. And the good thing about us is we all have different tastes. I'm more of the kind of the drama horror person. You got Gabe. He loves the fantasy stuff. You got T-Man, who's a blockbuster guy. Now, we all like every genre, but again, we have more of our specialties that we really love to stay in. And so, yeah, just come check us out. We'd appreciate it. Again, I think Jay said that where you can find us has been all over the screen tonight. But, Spotify, Apple.
Yep, links in the
Google
description.
Podcasts, all
and
that.
the logo's right there on your screen. The yellow and pink logo there with the microphones there. Real Talk. That's the logo, because I know there's more than one Real Talk out there. But that's the one you're looking for. The logo on your screen right now. All the links in the description will take you right to exactly the one that matters. But the direct, I have all the direct links. It's in there, so I don't know if you prefer Spotify or if you prefer Amazon or Podbean. All the links are below, man. So subscribe, so you never miss any of their podcasts when they drop.
He's good.
Oh yeah. I worked in advertising for a number of years, and I have a radio back. I met Mark because I worked at a radio station while he was on tour. So
So we do have a question. Anyone think they should remake or sequel The Black Hole? You guys know that movie from 1979?
I don't.
Walt Disney movie from the 70s.
I have not seen that one, no.
Tommy has.
Okay. I'll answer it. I think
No,
that
Tommy has.
Oh, Tommy, you've seen it?
You're on mute.
Your mic.
Yes, I have seen it. That's the Disney one, like late 70s, right? And
Oh,
it has
actually, I've seen
crazy robots in it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy movie. And it's like, especially thinking it's from like Disney. So you've seen it too, Gabe?
Yeah, remember when we stumbled down that Black Cauldron path and I was watching those old Disney movies? And
we talked about that,
we talked about it. I clicked on this movie and I was like, this is a strange movie. I don't know if Jack should watch this movie. But I was like, it's good. It was a good movie.
Or what do you think about it?
I liked it. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it came out, and it's like Disney, prior to that movie, they only made these like very like saccharine like kids movies, like The Love Bug and Benji and like all these others. But this movie was like so vastly different from those, and it had like Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie in it, and like it was just like, as an 8-year-old kid watching that movie, I was just like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. So to answer Ian's question, yeah, I do think that they should remake it. I think that if they made that movie in 2021, or I guess it would take them a year, so like 2022, 2023, like they could flesh that story out so much more. They would have better effects. It would be much more innovative, much more mind-blowing. So yeah, I do think that they should.
I do think they should, because like one thing I kind of miss from Disney, because I know they bought a lot of these companies, Lucasfilms, Pixar, etc. But I miss those old school live action Disney movies, like that one, like The Rocketeer, like those movies that, maybe they're not the greatest movies in the world, but movies like we grew up on, and I just really loved them. I wish they still made those type of movies.
Why did they stop?
Make it? Well, they acquired all these companies, and they don't feel like they have to right now, I think.
Yeah, I think that's.
Do you think they ever will make them? Do you think they'll switch to like shows like WandaVision and like Star Wars? Do you think they ever will make them?
Actually, that's a good point, Gabe. What I could see them doing is remaking them either to a series or movies and just going straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah, right.
So that's probably what they'll do from now on. Like, because some of these movies, like let's say if they remade The Rocketeer, that would probably be a Disney Plus movie.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and even like with COVID being out of the picture, like let's say that theaters were open and all that stuff was going on right now, would a movie like The Rocketeer be successful in like today's environment where you have things like the MCU, like the DCEU, and these other shared cinematic universes? They'd have that to compete with. So I think that you nailed it. It would probably, I think that I could definitely see them remaking some of these old classics, or having a branch of Disney that is like that genre, like those types of films.
Yeah.
But that would just go straight to streaming for sure. I think that they are doing stuff like that Artemis Fowl, for example, is like a good example of that.
Well,
where it just went straight to streaming.
You make a good point, because honestly, like The Rocketeer, I don't think was successual then, like in the early 90s.
Yeah,
my parents took me. I was 4 when that came out. My parents took me to see it.
I remember watching.
My parents took me too.
I saw it at the drive-in in Franklin, Kentucky as a kid, and I loved it. Yeah, I loved Rocketeer.
That's a great one.
I remember I had the action figure. Like, I was obsessed with like that action figure. I thought just the look of it and that gold helmet and the red suit.
Yes.
I thought
I
that
don't
was
know
the
why we're
coolest.
talking about it, but have you guys
I love
watched
the
it as an
right here.
adult?
Yes.
I haven't
I
seen it in
like it.
decades.
Yes or no?
Yes.
I
No.
sort of like it.
Love it.
I do not as much. I wish I did. I'm sorry. You don't have to look at me like that.
Jay, get the NerdCage back on. I'm about to
I wish I
Rocketeer
did.
Gabe.
Yo,
I'm gonna Rocketeer Gabe up.
my buddy Sean Barry's in the chat. Thank you for coming in, Sean. He mentioned Old Boy is the best revenge movie. Just saying.
Oh, how could I forget
good.
Old Boy?
Yeah.
I would
That
have
is
definitely
Yo,
gone.
that's Sean. Let me tell you about Sean. Like, the dude's like 23, and his knowledge of all the films that he's seen, not just movies, but he's seen so many of these Japanese films. Like, I'm not talking like Godzilla. I'm like more
Yeah.
than just Godzilla. Like, he just told me about this movie called, Tetsuo the Iron Man, and I was,
Yes, that's a good one.
what? You've seen it?
I've seen it.
Oh
And
Oh
they
my
have another
God,
movie
it's
called Ichi the
trippy.
Killer.
It's so trippy. I'm still trying to figure out if I love it or hate it, but I gotta watch it again. But Sean recommended that movie. Like, Sean's always telling me, like, hey, Jason, check this movie out, check this movie out, check. And I'm like, it blows my mind. Like, these are like deep, like foreign flicks I've never seen or heard of, and I'm like, these are awesome. So
What's-
Sean, we
what's-
love having you. I'm glad you're in here today, man. And by the way, his Twitter, shots of Japanese cinema. Follow that on Twitter. Awesome stuff.
Cool. That sounds interesting. I'll definitely
Wow,
check it
like
out.
I didn't know you. Have you guys? I gotta ask you guys. Have any of you guys seen Tetsuo the Iron Man, the Japanese
No,
movie?
I feel like I've heard of it. Like it sounds so familiar.
Yo, like it's trippy.
Is it? So let me ask you: is it black and white?
Yes.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Oh my
Yes, I
gosh,
have
you
seen
can rent it.
I
You
have
can
seen
rent it on
No,
YouTube.
I've seen it.
You can rent it
I've
on
seen
YouTube
it.
for like $4. Oh my god.
I know what you're talking
With the
about. now. I've seen it,
prosthetics
yeah,
and the gore
Yeah.
and like the
like 2 years
editing.
ago. Yeah, it is.
And now that
weird.
we're going down this rabbit hole, has anybody seen House?
I know what you're talking about.
70s?
Yes, I have not seen it, but I've seen clips. Shout out to Titan Goji. He reviewed it. Trippy, 1977 Japanese
Yep.
film. Trippy.
Yep, it's really good, especially because of what it's a metaphor for. But yeah, that is, to your guys' point, they make some very bizarre, crazy movies over there, and they make some really good ones. And House was really good, but at the same point, it is the strangest film that I've ever seen.
Yo.
They do make some weird ones.
Very
This
strange.
isn't
movie.
Japanese, but you remember that movie, Tommy? Is it Ongbok that has that really long camera
Oh,
angle
yeah.
going down the?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's on
Yeah,
Netflix.
It's
Yeah.
Tony Jaa.
Yep.
He's
Yeah.
in that one.
There's
Yeah,
like
that's a
3
good
of them.
one.
Yeah, there's like 3 of them. Yeah.
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 I think it's Ongbok too, or whatever it is. But those movies are spectacular. I know that's off the topic, and that's
No, that's all good. There's so many things we
I
can
love
talk
I
about.
love the
It's not
one take
Japanese.
fight scene, that really
Yes,
long
that's the one
fight
I
scene
was
that's just
thinking
all one
of
take.
the whole time.
Yeah,
that we were
like
talking about.
yeah, that's what sold me on Tony Jaa. I was just like, dude, this guy's the truth. You know what I mean? And I think that scene, I don't know this, I'm just speculating, but like I feel like that scene influenced some of the scenes in the Daredevil TV series where they do these like really long, like one take scenes. I had never seen it before.
They've done that.
in the prison.
Old Boy kind of has that too with that hallway scene.
In the hallway,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were talking about
No.
at first.
Well, when you talked about Old Boy and then you went to those Japanese films, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I'm not uncultured, but I was the whole time I was like, none of us did one of the karate films. None of us did a single karate film,
Right.
a revenge film, and I was like, that's like all of them. I was
There's so
like,
many.
man, we really messed up.
Yeah.
And crippled
Oh, we did.
Avengers.
Kill Bill. Thank you. That's why so many
Yeah.
people voted for Jason.
Yeah, that's true.
What can I say,
That's-
man?
yeah.
I'm just that awesome, man.
Yeah.
Listen, when I go toe to toe with Mark, however many weeks of the year that Mark I go toe to toe with, every now and then I gotta come out with a victory. I mean, but at the end of the day, as much as I love getting my victories when I get them, when I get them, at the end of the day, I just want everyone in the chat to have fun, and I want my guests to have fun. And as long as everybody's having fun and we're being interactive, that's what it's all about. That's where it wins. Is if the audience wins, we win. You know.
Right. I mean, I think that like the biggest takeaway from these rage debates is it like opens us up to like what we love about these movies. Like we've all seen the movies that we all debated, but like it's probably been years since like each one of us has watched every single one of those.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like nice to kind of revisit like, well, this is what we thought was great about it. And then if you haven't seen something like, you know, like a couple weeks ago we had a debate where like I brought up a movie that Jay hadn't seen before, and he was just like, "Oh, I gotta watch this movie now."
Peppermint. Yep.
So it's good for that reason. And then of course the people in the chat bring up the movies too. That you know we're just like, oh yeah, like you know that's definitely a movie worth revisiting. So
they made a lot of good points. I didn't think about half of those movies.
Yeah.
The audience is better than we are.
Yeah, I was saying, listen, I can't say it enough. We just crossed 300 subscribers last week. I just want to say right now, I love our community here. Everybody here is so much fun. They ask us questions, they bring up good points, and they're here hanging out with us, man. So I'm glad, like Wes, Tommy, Gabe, that you're able to get a taste of our community, and we definitely want to have you guys back for sure. I'm sure everybody in chat definitely wants to have you back, and I'm sure. Please, everybody in chat, if you guys are here, please check out their podcasts. I mean, like, we love growing, and we love growing, and we just, like, again, this community here at NerdCage Live, man, I know it's cliche to say, but you guys are the best in the world, man. You guys drive us, man, and we're gonna continue bringing these awesome guests on and having these great discussions. And, you know, like I said, like, there's so much I want to do with the show. I mean, there's good stuff coming down the road, and I'm glad, and of course, I'm happy to make those big announcements already. You know, Anthony Marquez from Mortal Kombat is coming on the show next month. And at the end of the month, we're doing a Snyder Cut watch party. Woo, be ready for that. We have 9 people watching the Snyder Cut Saturday the 27th of March. Oh, man, be ready for it because we're going to chop it up, and it's going to be so much fun. Yo, yeah, dude, I love doing watch parties here as well. So, man, it's just been, what a ride it's been, man, for real. But, yeah, so, Wes, Tommy, Gabe, real quick, just let's say our goodbyes real quick. Just anything else you guys want to add before we go?
Well, I'm gonna miss you guys. It's been a lot of fun. I'm not gonna miss Wes and Tommy because they kind of suck. But you know, if you come over to our show. It's a lot of fun. We yell at each other a lot. That's what we enjoy. And
awesome.
I bet people are just running out to subscribe.
That's one day said, "You're the ultimate salesman. I see why you do what you do."
Yeah, like I said, all the links in the description.
Seriously, people at home and people in the chat, definitely check these guys out, man. Like, I'm a fan. I listen to their episodes. They're insightful. They know about movies. They love movies. So, you know, definitely, you know, hit them up on Spotify, follow them, check them out.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Thank you,
guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would just say that, this was so much fun. I haven't been on an episode like this where you're like really debating, like really kind of getting into it. I had a blast. I would love to.
I could tell. I think everyone else could tell. You were throwing some haymakers, and like I said, you sold me on Darkman. Like, I am like excited to rewatch it now.
Awesome. So we'll definitely do it again. Love to have you guys over too. I think you guys will have a lot of fun with it.
Please. I love coming. I love representing our brand, and I would love to be a guest on your guys' podcast as well. I would just
we'll work it out. We sure will. I will plug just our social media real quick as well. Do you have that?
Yes, links are in the description. Twitter and Facebook, the Facebook group and the Facebook link and the Twitter link and Instagram.
Cool, good. You're on it. You got it taken care of. Nothing else to say. Thank you.
Well, Ian Lewis, real quick. Ian Lewis says, "What days?" I think he means like, what days do you drop new episodes?
Well, so that's a good question. We haven't really got on an episode cadence. What we're trying to do is release at least 2 regular episodes a month, and then we also we're doing this thing called Reviewing the New, where it's just supposed to be just a very short episode where we just do some recommendations of brand new films. And then we also have our interview episodes that, you know, Gabe and I will do. T-Man swings by sometimes. Sometimes we go solo with them. It just depends. So we try to put out at least 3 or 4 episodes a month. So if you will subscribe, you know, Apple or any place that you get your podcasts, you'll just subscribe to the show. It'll give you a little notification, of course, whenever we have a new episode available. But we put out a lot of content. And so you won't go more than a couple of weeks without hearing from Real Talk.
Yeah. Let me just say, add one thing. Wes, Gabe, or anybody else wants to. If you had a new listener, what episode would you have them recommend to listen to? What do you think they would enjoy to kickstart them off?
All right. Listen to my trick ending to Jurassic Park. Go to the end of the Jurassic Park episode, and I have an alternate ending that is far better than anybody else's alternate ending.
That's a fun one. That's a fun one.
Jurassic Park was good. Some of our more popular ones were during the Halloween season, actually. We did Halloween, we did Scream, we did Ghostbusters, for fun, some of those. Those have been really good. And then our Christmas episodes with Home Alone and Die Hard, those were good too. So I think if people want to start with something like that, and then I'll say one other thing, plug one other episode real quick. We were fortunate enough to have Sandy King Carpenter on our show, who is the wife of John Carpenter. Wow. She's a huge producer that worked with Michael Mann. She worked with John Hughes on 16 Candles, Thief, Michael Mann. Obviously with John Carpenter, she was a producer on They Live. Anyway, she came on to our show, and we just went through her career and talked with her. And then I could hear John, who's from our same town that we podcast from, I could hear him coughing in the back. He's been a cigarette smoker, his entire life. I could hear him coughing a little bit. And then Sandy says, well, John's been eavesdropping a little bit. And he actually answered a couple of questions for us too. Wow. So indirectly, we had John Carpenter on our show, which was really cool. Big moment for us. So check it out.
If we can get him in the same room, if he's listened to it, that works for us.
We can listen to us talk for an hour like you guys. That's what
he was probably like, get me off of this. Who are you?
You guys heard it here. Check out Real Talk. I mean, they got guests on. They chop it up just like how Mark and I do. So by all means, check them out. I'm really intrigued. I'm gonna have to go back into your catalog and dig out a few. So Mark, before we go, anything you want to promote before we call it a night?
Yeah, so before I promote anything, I just want to thank these guys for coming in. I mean, this is definitely up there as one of our most fun episodes. We love doing the Rage with you, and I'm definitely going to be continuing to listen, and we'd love to have you guys back sometime.
Anytime, man.
We got some slots open later on in the spring. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah,
just throw that out there.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that being said, as far as upcoming episodes, this Sunday we're going to be premiering a new look back, the 30th episode of Silence of the Lambs. The following week we're going to do Deadpool, and then the following week we're going to do Rumble in the Bronx. These are already recorded. And we're working on them now. So stay tuned. Every Sunday we're going to drop a new episode. So if you can either watch the video here on YouTube, or you can listen to an audio only version on Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, anywhere you listen to a podcast. So we hope you check them out.
And I just want to again promote our upcoming shows. So next week, the return of Dion McGill of Off the Beaten Podcast, along with the return of Joshua Burst of the Facebook group of Movie Aficionados. We cannot wait to have those two on. And then on the 25th, we have Alexander the Swell. I cannot wait to have him on. We're going to be debating best Steven Spielberg movie. Woo! Be ready for that one. That's one's going to be lit. And of course, as you saw the promos, Anthony Marquez, the original Kung Lao. It's coming on NerdCage Live on the March 18th. And of course, Snyder Cut Watch Party has officially been announced for the Saturday the 27th. Yes, we're going to watch the whole damn movie together as a group. I cannot wait. With Titan Goji, Yoko Higuchi, Dion from Off the Beaten Podcast, Matthew Farden, Wild Band. I mean, we got a stacked Brian from Monstrosities. We got a stacked lineup for that watch party, so be ready for that. Until then, thank you very much, everybody, for all your support. So before we go, we ask you to please like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, spread that shit like Silva Soda USA, from Louisville to Bowling Green to Nashville to Syracuse, and all of our friends and fans around that NerdCage Live and Real Talk podcast. Enjoy life, stay safe, and good night.
Sayonara.
Kung Lao wins. Fatality. Flawless victory. Prepare to die. Tell me, do you bleed?
Behold, Mark has given me permission to host a Snyder Cut watch party on Saturday, March 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. West Coast. For this epic event, I call upon thee, Dia from Off the Beaten Podcast, voice actor Matthew Farden, Titan Goji, Brian from Monstrosities, Wild Band, and Yoko Higuchi from Resistance Films.
Ooh, trying to get out of the NerdCage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage Live!